So even in a game like Minecraft, we can see these economic theories in practice, like how it benefits people to specialize and all that kind of thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so what was I up to? So I mean, on the one hand, you're just playing a game, but on the other hand, there's actually a lot of stuff that you can be thinking about, and maybe even learn from just the things that you and other people do in these games. 1, 2, yep. So roads, if you read let me just get this Wikipedia article open. If I can do this without crashing my computer, because I'm recording at the same time. Alright, let's just wait for this to load up. Alright, and if you look at the history of this, let me just read a bit of this. The ancient Romans used a consolidated scheme for city planning, developed for military defense and civil convenience. The basic plan consisted of a central forum with city services surrounded by a compact rectilinear grid of streets, here we go, roads, and wrapped in a wall for defense. So a central forum with city, in fact it's just like my single player map. My courtyard, that's like the forum with all the services, with the storage, with the food, with the resources. The mine is there, the mob farm is there. So a central forum with city services surrounded by a compact rectilinear grid of streets. I don't have that yet. And then wrapped in a wall for defense. And then you see outside, I'm building the wall right now. So in fact, even like I wasn't planning to do that. But because I've studied urban design, I've studied architecture before, I end up doing these things almost naturally, almost subconsciously. I'm designing my own world around these urban planning principles. Where's the nearest water source? What else? To reduce travel times, 2 diagonal streets cross the square grid, passing through the central square. A river usually flowed through the city, providing water, transport, and sewage disposal. Well, that's not really necessary in Minecraft, but rivers are important back in the olden days as well, because the only really effective way to transport large amounts of goods was on a ship, right? I mean, if you have to carry stuff on land, even if you have transport, I mean, what do you have? You have horses and chariots and carts and whatever. Like they can't carry very much, whereas a ship can carry quite a bit, and you can just sail them up and down rivers relatively easily. Not that easily, but relatively easily. But anyway, that's not important in Minecraft, obviously. So I don't have a river. What else? Many European towns, such as Turin, preserve the remains of these schemes, which show the very logical way the Romans designed their cities. They would lay out the streets at right angles in the form of a square grid. All roads were equal in width and length. Oh wait, I want this. I'm trying to read and build at the same time. Except for 2, which was slightly wider than the others. These ran east-west. Well, one of these ran east-west, the other north-south, and intersected in the middle to form the center of the grid. So the 2 central roads were slightly wider than the others, and I guess the diagonals would be a bit more interesting as well. Let me just do this. Whoa, that's not right. All roads were made of carefully fitted flagstones and filled in with smaller hard-packed rocks and pebbles, so I guess slabs and cobblestone. Bridges were constructed where needed. Each square marked by 4 roads was called an insula, the Roman equivalent of a modern city block. And so there, like, the description of the city the roads are integral to the description of the city and also to the functioning of the city and the order of the city. It's divided into a grid. That's the Roman city. But let me just skip forward a bit and just go to modern planning. Alright, let's see what they say here. Modern urban planning, did I have 71? Yeah, that's right. Modern urban planning dates from the 1850s and the contrasting projects to update Paris and extend Barcelona. In 1852, Baron Georges Eugene Haussmann was commissioned to remodel the medieval street plan of Paris by demolishing swathes of the old city and laying out wide boulevards. So again, to remodel the city required redesigning the street. You see how like the streets and the roads are pretty much integral to the design of cities. Like if you want to remodel the city, you just rebuild the roads, and the rest basically completed themselves because people will fill in between the streets. Once you put the streets in, people will know what to do because the roads define the boundaries of the buildings basically. So in terms of city design, the design of the city is almost equivalent to the building of roads. Or obviously there's other things involved as well, but like the building of roads is the key to building a city. And I'm not sure people understand that. I'm not sure you guys understand that. What else did it say? Demolishing swathes of the old city and laying out wide boulevards, extending outwards. 78, 90. Okay, let's go to 79. Extending outwards beyond the old city limits. Haussmann's project encompassed all aspects of urban planning, both in the center of Paris and in the surrounding districts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. Let me just do this for a bit. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Let me just get rid of some of this cactus. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I guess I'll just take the sand because the sand's valuable. Sorry for interrupting our lesson on urban design. And I guess I should fill this in as well because it's going to be a liability later on. Oops, lost the torch. I'm not going after it. Let's close this up. Is there anything else underneath here? There's another cave down there. We can barely see it. Anyway, I just leave that alone. I need more cobblestone as well. And we'll get back out if we can. Alright, so Alright, what was I saying? Encompassed all aspects of urban planning, both in the center of Paris and the surrounding districts, with regulations imposed on building facades, public parks, sewers and waterworks, city facilities, public monuments. Beyond aesthetic and sanitary considerations, the wide thoroughfares facilitated troop movement and policing. So there they listed other aspects, not just the roads, but also like building facades, so what buildings look like from the street, from the street again, parks, sewers, waterworks, public buildings and monuments, and also the wide streets facilitated troop movement and policing. And see, like even there, the idea that a wider street enables policing. I mean, that's interesting because obviously the police, and I guess these days it's also the fire service and ambulances. Like, you need wide enough roads for these services to get to people, right? So it's not just for people to move around themselves, but also for these emergency services, which are pretty important to get to the people who need them. I guess I'll just fill that in. I'm not going to talk about Barcelona. I'll just let you guys read all of this stuff. There's a lot more to this. that's very interesting to look at: aesthetics, safety and security, slums, decay, reconstruction, transport, economics. So there's all sorts of things to learn about. So, like roads, I mean, not all of this applies to Minecraft. Like, there's no polices or ambulances in Minecraft. But the idea that roads define the city, nevertheless, that applies in Minecraft. So what was it? What was the point I was trying to get to? Like, there's a lot of people on the server, on the sapling server, but very few people understand urban planning. And so what happens is you end up with a lot of stuff just getting built wherever people feel like building. And until I suggested to a bunch of guys to build some roads, it was basically turning into a kind of slum because there's no plan, there's no services, there's no public spaces. I mean, public spaces, you think, oh, why do we need public spaces? Like, difference between a good city and just okay, I shouldn't do that, and a random collection of buildings is the services. Can I? Okay, there we go. I mean, if you have roads, if you have parks, and if you have whatever it is, other amenities, like if you have those things, then it looks like a city and it functions like a city. Whereas if you just have a bunch of houses or just a bunch of buildings, then people don't know that it's meant to be a city. Oh, here's the arrow. Okay, I'm just gonna... Actually, let's just close that up. And also, like, once you put down a road, people will use it and they will build alongside it. And people don't, like, they don't do it, I don't know if they do it consciously, but even in the sapling server, like, the roads are pretty new introduction. Like, I got some guys to build roads in their own town, and then some of the other guys started building further roads. I've built a lot of roads myself. But once you put down roads, people will build, people are more likely to build close to your roads, and people are much more likely to align their buildings to face the road. Just because the line is there, just because it's there, people will organize themselves around it. And so if you want your city to have some sort of structure, some sort of order, then if you lay out the roads, the rest will almost fix themselves. Like, the rest will almost... Like, you don't have to do the other things. Like, people will do it for you. And, if you want people to build in a certain position or in a certain direction, just build roads out that way. And people are more likely to expand that way. Whereas, if the other direction has no roads, they're less likely to go that way. Although some people prefer to go out in the middle of nowhere and start their own town or something. Some people would do that. But at the same time, other people are more likely to use the roads and to organize themselves according to it. And people are also... I actually find it quite interesting that people don't proactively build roads. Like, they will use them if they're there, but very few people actually build them consciously. I guess it reflects the real world, because in the real world, the government will build the roads, and you're not supposed to do it yourself. I guess we live in a time where the government takes care of so many things that people almost take for granted now. Like, they don't think about the need to build roads because they're never personally responsible for it. But in Minecraft we don't. I guess we might have that. A server might have admins and mods and some sort of government. But generally they don't, and so you really have to take care of that stuff yourself if you want roads and any sort of planning in your Minecraft server. This one's just on the surface, isn't it? Right. Oops, wrong button. 71? Yeah, 71. I'm not sure I made the point that I want to make. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure that I've actually made the point that I want to make. Let me try to think what I was trying to say. I don't know, I guess that's pretty much what I want to say. Like, most people will build their own buildings. Most people don't think about building public buildings. You know, like building buildings for everyone. Parks and roads, those belong to the category of public works, basically. Like, they'll build their own things, they don't build the actual city. To the point where if you do build the city, you become the de facto government in a funny sort of way. Like, if you do start building roads, people will look to you to design the server. I mean, they kind of do, they kind of don't. Or, you know, if no one else is doing it and you do it, then you become the guy to do it. If that makes sense. And it's not because nobody else is able to do it. It's not because nobody is allowed to do it. But it's just because they don't do it. So, you know, I've built roads on the sapling server, but I specifically built roads